Hey everybody, Jay Smith here for FishPod Network with another FishPod Network podcast. Yet another podcast that we recorded at the Tampa Bay Fishing Club meet and greet last week. I sat down with Chris Geib from Sunsect, and we talked about the product that you've probably heard me talk about a million times on the podcast. So without further ado, please welcome Chris. Hey everybody, FishPod Network here, Jay Smith, and I'm here with Chris Geib.
That's correct.
Geib from Sunsect. And we're going to talk a little bit about a product I use all the time. You guys have heard me talk about it as nauseum, I'm sure, on the podcast. Your product works, and that's why I constantly talk about it. I'm glad to have you in here. Thanks for sitting with me today, Chris.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So what started Sunsect? I know this wasn't it for the military or something like that to begin with?
Yeah, so the 1 minute story behind it is it was developed for the military originally to solve a problem.
Mm-hmm.
If you go out and put sunscreen on and you put insect repellent on, two separate products, they work against each other, and you can lose the effectiveness of both by up to 50%.
Wow.
So the idea came about by some doctors. So why don't we just put DEET with sunscreen? And then, it took a while to get all the formulations correct and all that. But when they did, military caught wind of it. So all the original testing was actually done in conjunction with the military at a place called the Walter Reed Army Institute. And once they gave them the check marks, they got the NSN numbers and started selling to the military in 1999.
Yeah.
Myself and Steve, our CEO, came on board around 2013 to rebrand it and launch it to retail as well as sell to the military.
So, well, you can't ask for a better mark of approval than from those guys. They get out in the worst of it. So, me personally, my personal experience with it when I first got it, I go out to an island a lot to fish overnight, and we camp out there. And the bugs can be horrendous. You know how those key islands can be.
Oh, yeah.
Just not even just the no-seams, but the mosquitoes that will fly off of the baby. They're so big. And that was the only thing that would, in the middle of the night, it would keep them off all night long. I didn't have to reapply it a million times. Yep. And in those early mornings when you get out there, too, it's a lifesaver. And we're out here at the E.G. Simmons Park today at the Tampa Bay Fishing Club get-together. And Paul and I, when we first got here this morning, this place is like a big swamp out here right now.
Basically.
I'm sure you noticed. Our legs were black with mosquitoes as soon as we got out of the truck. Put on the Sunsect immediately. I haven't had a problem the rest of the day. So, I mean, it worked. All you got to do is show somebody one time and how great it is. And then who hasn't gone out in their kayak and then forgot to put on the sunblock after you put on the insect repellent? So,
well, we've got friends that are ambassadors of ours, and they forget to bring it sometimes.
Yeah.
So they come back, they're burnt. They got mosquito bites. They're like, sorry.
I put them in multiple bags. Like every fishing gear bag that I have at least has a sample packet in it or one of the little tubes.
You got to have your emergency kit.
Yeah, I have it everywhere. I have one in the truck. I make sure I have it all the time. And I couldn't preach it enough to people. If people go, I don't want to go out there because of the bugs. I'm like, that's not even an excuse now, man.
Well, and that's our education process we have to do is it's a unique product, which is a good and bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
People are interested in it, but they don't really know about it, so they're reluctant to try it because they just don't think it will work.
Right.
So that's why we like working with FishPod and other like Tampa Bay Fishing Club, and we just need to get the product in people's hands.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
They use it, and they're like, oh, wait, it does work.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we need to do, and it's an education process because nothing's ever worked like it does against those no-see-ums and horse flies and everything else, and then they realize, I didn't get sunburned either, and this and that, and they're like, this is actually a really awesome product. It
is an awesome product because, one, you don't stink as bad as you would if you spray the stuff all over you or whatever, and then it just, how suntan lotion, when you put it on you, it just kind of eventually you don't even notice it's there anymore, and now you're protected from both. And that, for me as a kayak fisherman too, if I just put it on first thing, I make it a habit. I have it right there in my cup holder, so when I get out of the truck, I put it on real quick, get all my gear out, go. I'm good for a while. I don't have to reapply until the next time I stop, a ways, hours and hours down the road, know, and works out great. I keep the no-seams and mosquitoes off me. I don't get burnt across my legs and feet like I used to all the time. And I can't, like I said, I can't preach it enough. People got to get out there and use it, and they'll see. I think it would get people back out there more. Out to those areas where they usually don't go during the summer, or they wait till the winter to go fish or whatever.
Well, in those early mornings at the boat ramp and in the evenings when you're coming back,
it can be rough.
Even for the offshore fishermen, we have a lot of them that use it. They don't think they need it at first because there's no bugs 40 miles offshore.
Sure.
But when you're getting that boat ready at the boat ramp and the sun's about to come up, and especially around Florida, everybody knows, you put it on before you get out of the truck or it's too late.
Yeah, they've got you. Like this morning, didn't put it on until I got out of the truck. They got us. So we were lit up. So how long has Sunsect been around? You said 99?
So 99 is when we officially started selling to the military. They developed the product in early 90s, like 94, 95 timeframe. Sunsect, as it is now, available to retail, was launched to retail in 2015.
So it's recently just out for the public to get.
Right. So the product's been around for a while, but it's still basically a new product, a new idea to most of the people out there.
Sure. Well, I've seen you guys have been pretty active getting out to the fishing tournaments and into the fishing industry itself. I've seen a lot of people have it in their hands, and it seems like you guys are taking off pretty good. Is it been treating you pretty good lately then?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like everything else. It's a process. Getting it out there, talked about the education part and all that, and the fishing side of things is fun because, one, we're headquartered in Florida. Tons of people are in Florida, and a lot of them fish. So focusing on that market first, a lot of our distributors, a lot of our national retailers are in that kind of outdoors market. And that's kind of where we're starting to – we need to penetrate all of that market and then keep moving on to the mainstream market. We deal with a lot of golf, and we deal with a lot of
anything
camping,
outdoors,
everything. If there's a lady today that said she uses it because in her garden – that's it. So, I mean, the market's vast, but the fishing one's fun for us because I like to fish. There's a huge market in Florida, obviously, for that. So it's a fun one to do.
Definitely. So you get out fishing a bunch?
I would like to fish a
bunch. You sound like us. As soon as you get into the industry, it's like
it
just cuts in half.
I try to go with some